building Lambo a desk because there sucks part 3, and today, everything either comes together or falls apart. And spoiler alert, things start to fall apart, but before that, oblivious me thought that this was going to be the most difficult thing I did today, that being cutting out the two distinct sides of the desk. Little did I know I was about to route a massive hole in the side of the piece. But in terms of cutting out the profile of the desk, I started with this side, which is the most difficult. And to do so, I put this little stop on my track saw so that I couldn't cut past my line. Once the track saw gets most of the material out of the way, we can come back in with the Japanese flush cut saw to get the rest of the way through. Now if you're wondering why I'm even building Lamborghini desks, essentially this is what theirs looks like now. And as someone that makes furniture, I want to build them something a lot nicer. So I spent over $2 grand on materials and started building without even having them as a client. But that could change very soon because you guys are doing a really good job at tagging Lamborghini in all of these videos. Though my inbox is still empty, so if you could tag them a few more times on this video, I'd appreciate it. Back to the actual build, and we're putting this edge profile on it, which is also how this build really starts to go south. Because this job, which should have taken an hour, ended up taking 3 days. And the first of these problems was my electrical, which wasn't powerful enough, leading the breaker to continually break. But that wasn't that bad. Bad news time because I was routing and that happened. I don't want to talk about it, but now you get to fix it. And the only way I know of to fix something like that is patchwork, which I've never done before. Patchwork is essentially making the problem worse so that you can fill it with a block of wood that hopefully looks similar enough and fits tight enough that you can't even see it. Now luckily for me, this was on the underside of the table, so you won't really be able to see it in the end, but I still really want it to look good. And it fit pretty well. Now if that was the last mistake, I'd be happy, but unfortunately it wasn't. Because as you'll see, I made 2 more that were completely my fault. Now the only way I knew of to get rid of this excess material was with the same saw we used before. And this is where another problem arises, because if you're an idiot like me, the flush cut saw doesn't actually cut flush. Now that was a complete skill issue, but you won't be able to see it in the end, so I carried on. Overall, after routing over it again, it's pretty obvious, but in the end, I don't think you'll be able to see it at all, because we still got a lot more work to do. Like routing the top of the desk, which is where I gave you all a prime example of what not to do. Well, I'm not hip or cool, but I do believe you would call this a valid crash out. But whatever you call it, it's a pretty simple fix, just using the vacuum to get glue all the way down in the crack, but just an annoying setback. So I guess today we learned that I really suck at using a router. But once that glue was dry, I could finish after 3 days routing the piece, and I was a little happy about it. That sucked a lot, but the whole desk is really coming together, so if you want to see the rest of the build, like, follow, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.